Welcome everybody to the 12th episode of Parkitect campaign. Wow, we're off to a bad start already, but it's gonna get better, I swear. So in the last episode, we did Batavia Cay, and in this episode, we're gonna be tackling HappyCo Harbor. So the description for this is HappyCo Amusement Rides Division invites you to redevelop this disused industrial harbor into a star amusement park. The company plans to use this site to showcase new attractions and developments, so be sure that guests don't get to see all those old industrial structures. And then it kind of goes into this end note here that is a little bit of extra detail. It says invitation does not revoke contractual obligations, and HappyCo waives liability on the associations of any retinal damage caused by prolonged exposure to said structures. Okay, so I really don't know what that relates to. So I guess we'll just figure it out when the time comes, if it even relates to anything. But the scenario goals for this is to have 3 coasters in your park with an excitement rating of 50% or above, and I'm pretty sure that means each coaster has to have 50 or above in excitement. I really don't look at that, so we'll have to kind of look into that. And then have a decoration rating of 80%, and that's going to be a little bit of a challenge because of the industrial things that is going to make the park rating or the decoration rating go down. And then we have to have 600 guests in our park. So we have to complete this by May year 3 for our optional goal. So why don't we load into this park and we will see what we have brewing in here. As we load in, it's a really kind of cool architecture style, and I really want to kind of work with it. It looks like concrete and like this metal iron stuff, so that's gonna be a good about amount of fun here to have with this. And then we can paint the ground to kind of match this feel if we wanted to. I'm sure that our trophy is gonna have to do something with this industrial vibe. Looking at it from a farther glance, we have this kind of area over here. I don't know, it just kind of looks like part of a map that's really not going to be used. Could be like the spawning point. But looking at our map size, it's actually over here. We have this area, and it looks like over here, maybe. Let's see if I can place a ride down over here. I can't. The park does not own rights, so it looks like I'm gonna have to like buy over here or something, or maybe one of the one of our achievements. If we have like 3 coasters, it might let us in there. I really don't know what the requirements are for that, but we'll see when we get there, I guess. We got a nice shipping boat, which actually might be our trophy. We'll see when we get there as well. But going into our rides, we have a carousel, a car ride, and an observation tower. We have an Enterprise launch drop tower, go-karts, Twister, and Gravitron for our thrill rides. And then 2 coasters, a steel coaster and a wooden coaster. So we either have to research a ride or a roller coaster, or we can use the lift hill for the steel coaster and then the launch for the steel coaster as well. So we have multiple options to do with this. We have a mini monorail for a transportation ride, and then we have a log flume and paddle boat for water rides. We could use the paddle boat in this area. That might look a little nice. And that's it for rides. So and then we have 20,000 when we start. So right now we lost $25, but I'm sure that really won't affect us much. In this, we are researching thrill rides already. Okay. What else is there to look at? What do we have for our shops? Balloons, cash machine, cotton candy, customizable shop, first aid room. That's a little bit different. I don't know what this does. I might have to look that up just a little bit. Info kiosk, pizza, soft drinks, toilets, umbrellas, and vending machines. So we have a lot of shops to start out with. And then I guess the plan is to develop this side of the area, or this side of the park first, and then hopefully maybe at the mid-course we'll just swap over and see if we can get it over on this side of the land. So we have a good plan right now, and we'll see where it heads next. So we're going to head to a time lapse and start this park off. Alright, so we are in the time lapse, and I will say the beginning of it will look really promising. This park looks really kind of easy almost, and I'm doing a lot of detailing, which I'm really happy about. But then as the time lapse will go on, things might start to look apparent to where things are going wrong. And I'll point those out to you when we get there. But for right now, we are in the beginning of the section, and we placed down an Enterprise ride, which is the blue ride. That was the first thing that we placed down. And now we're placing down a merry-go-round. And those are going to be our first two rides, starting it off with a couple of rides just to get some cash flowing, even though we're not going to be opening the park for a good while. Even though it's actually open right now, things just won't be open. So now the next task is to build this little building here, and I think the goal for this park is would be to outline the park in buildings so that some of those buildings that are gonna decrease the decoration rate of the park um, they're gonna be blocked by these buildings. So this is a restroom stall, and then we're actually gonna add the first aid room, which I haven't had in any scenario yet. So this is the first time I'm gonna be using that. I don't really know what it's gonna do for the park in general. I think it just might be necessary. Especially, I think it actually might help with the sickness of people. I never really looked into that, even though I might should have, or I should have at least. But that is our big long building along the side. So now we're working on this little mid section here, this little plaza area. This is probably where a lot of the decoration is going to be coming from. I wanted a lot of this park to be big plazas with a lot of greenery, since this is a really industrial area. So I wanted it to kind of take away from the industrial area and make it feel more like a park. So we boxed this off with the hedges, and then we went around with some plants and then some rocks. Made it all really look nice, and I actually really like how this turned out. This is probably my favorite area in the park, besides maybe what we're going to be doing later on, but that's besides the point. So as we finish up this area, we're going to be moving on to some more scenery. That's going to include some cute covers, some ride covers, all of that jazz. So first thing is the Enterprise queue cover, and something that you'll see, and will be able to talk about later on in this part of the time lapse, is the colors of the rides. That's not going to really come into play right now, but it'll be apparent later on. So and that'll kind of factor into the colors as well, like the reasons why I chose what colors rides are. Anyway, the queue cover is gray with a nice purple border here, so it's really looking nice, nothing too crazy. And then this is me just now trying to fix some the decoration ratings and all that. And another thing that I'm going to be doing, and if I cannot be putting a building on the edge of the path, I'm going to be using these ivy things. It's like an ivy plant, but it's like in a planter, so it's like supposed to be there. It's not like wild grown ivy like some of the other ivy placeholder thingies. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore, but it's okay. We're moving on. We are working on the merry-go-round now. This one is going to be a little bit different style building than I've normally done. This is going to be a little bit more of a warehouse building with like a glass roof. I really like how this one turns out, and this is going to be a way bigger building moving on into the time lapse. Right now, it's just this little small building that's really looking nice, but we're going to really add on to it, and you'll see that later on as well. So a lot of this stuff really is not going away. I'm going to try and bring everything together in one big project. I guess that's the goal of this scenario anyway, or all scenarios for that matter. But and now moving on, we've had two rides for the majority of the time here. So now it's time to go in with our first coaster, which is the Steel Coaster. And it's going to be a launched one. It's going to be close to the Flight of Fear model at like a Kings Island or Kings Dominion park. Just trying to keep it simple. And it's one of those, I think it's Premier Rides, I believe, is who built it. And it's just big, it's basically a big spaghetti bowl. And I didn't really want to use it too much. Like I wanted it to be a little bit different style, but based on space, and since we have to get three coasters in here, it's just easiest to go with this type of layout with a launch, and then the lift hill would take way too much space, so the launch was just very reasonable for this. So going into the layout, it curves and does some snake moves right out of the station, and then into the launch where it goes into a giant cobra roll, and then it goes down the cobra roll into a vertical loop, and then it does a really sharp cutback move where it really hits that at a high speed. And we'll take a ride on this in the mid course as always. but that's that second move. And then we do a 0G roll coming right back onto the other side, and then a nice turnaround, really smooth, and then a good ejector airtime, which we're working on right now. And then it's going to go actually a double down and underground, and then it's going to be a huge helix on this backside of the area here, where it goes around, I think, about two times, if I'm not mistaken, and then it slams into the brakes super hard, and then it hits those block brakes, and then we're moving the station here just to give those block brakes actual room to do their job, and then that's it for this coaster. So we're going to be doing a lot of detailing to this coaster as well. That's a pretty common theme for this scenario. Some other scenarios I really haven't done too much scenery, but this one I really did. I think I'm really happy with what I've done so far, and I want to keep it going, even though it might not be the best. For the management side, I think the scenery for this park is really looking good, anyways. So yeah, we're just kind of working on the station now. Well, not really. We're actually gonna ride the ride first, get everything in order, and then we're gonna be basically jumping around in this scenario a lot. The first thing though, we do have to finish this queue to get people on it. We gotta finish the station, make sure it's all done, and then things will might just start going bad based on my management skills. I really feel that my park management is not the best. I'm better at just building parks and sandbox, but that's why I do this series, just to kind of get that experience. And this is the different side of the fun of amusement parks, that I really like through this game, Parkitect. I think it does the management really really well, compared to other games like with the amusement park. So now we're just working on this area as a whole. You can see that the queue is in, and I did this really high fencing so that people couldn't get in and get hit by the ride, since the ride is pretty much surrounding the whole queue. And then we're going into the station build, which is going to be this like metal walls, I guess, with some windows, and we're going to be doing some nice roofing for this. I'm really pleased with this building, even though it doesn't really look all that good right now. I really do think it comes out really well, especially with the color choices. And so this ride is actually orange, the Enterprise is blue, and the merry-go-round is red. So we can talk about that later on in the episode, as I've said before. So as we're gonna be working on this, some things will be happening in this park. Mainly, well, from the building's perspective, this is all we're doing, but we're slowly losing money. And if you look, we have around $6,500, which really is not a lot compared to what we had in the 20,000s at the start. But that's normal for the beginning of a Parkitect scenario, where you lose a lot of money first, and then you go back and you make a bunch of money. So we're not doing awful, but some of the things that do affect it is what rides you place down when, and that's going to come into account very, very soon. So, as we're finishing up the station with these nice green outline metal roof details, I guess. I think they're supposed to be support structures, but I really didn't use them for that. I think I like it better this way. And then some glass paneling. We are pretty much done with this coaster. We'll be doing some light guardrail and stuff as we move on in the episode. But now that that area is complete, we're gonna be moving on to back to this other side of the park, which I placed down a staff building, and there's actually no staff in this park. So I saw that the janitors were needed. So that's the next thing that we're gonna put down. We're gonna hire some janitors, and then we're gonna hire some other people as well. And then the vandalism actually was a good high. It wasn't really too high, but it was a good amount. So we had to hire a little bit of security as well. But as we're moving on, we have these two paths going, one or both actually surrounding the merry-go-round, and then we're going to be putting a ride back there on the other side of it. And the envisionment for this side of the merry-go-round was to really have a path like the go-karts. I wanted go-karts to be back there, which kind of reveals it because we're not there yet. We're still kind of mingling around, and there was actually a really really hard cut there. We're actually going to be working on the go kart right now. Oh, before we do that though, this is another part that's going to be integrated with this go kart, which is a mini food area and drink area because people were getting really hungry and really thirsty. So we had to add that. And then I really wanted this go kart track to be back here. I thought it would look really, really nice, but this is where the poor judgment comes in. Even though this really does, I think, work with this situation and it really looks nice, it really was not the best idea to go with. I guess the go karts don't really bring in a good amount of people unless you have already a lot of people in the park. So, and then along with that, this is a fairly small go kart. So, this ride, it overall was a very, very big disappointment to me, and it really was probably the downfall because now, as a couple seconds ago, I mentioned that we had like $6,000. Now we're down to two, and this ride's going to basically make no money. So it's just a waste of $4,000. But the big envisionment was to have the path going under the go kart track, and I wanted it to really kind of look nice. But it does look nice in the end. It's just a big money waster, and I really should have just went around the other side with the other plans that I have planned, and we'll go into that a little bit more when we get there. But for right now, we're still working on this area. And then this is actually where the merry-go-round, I said that that building was kind of small right now. Well, this is where it's going to be way bigger. You can see that I'm placing down all these red walls, and those are actually going to be, well, they already are connected to the merry-go-round building. So this is making it one giant warehouse, basically. And then we actually added another shop. We have the pizza, the soda, and now cotton candy. Because who doesn't like a good cotton candy in an industrial style theme park that might not be doing too well right now? But yeah, so this is what we have going on here, and you can see I'm trying to make this go-kart track work. I shortened the queue. I thought it was gonna have a huge queue, and then whenever it rains, actually, the merry-go-round gets super popular, which is kind of surprising to me, but not really that surprising at the same time since it is an indoor ride. But that's just a little observation that I've noticed. Other than that, we're just going to be finishing up this area, not really caring about it too much. I tried to keep the same industrial style building, but like more modern look, I guess, to this building with the go kart interior. Yeah, the go karts do have an interior to the section, which also was not maybe not the best idea since I am still blowing money on the go karts, even though it's still not bringing me in any money. So I don't know why I just didn't abandon that idea and get the money back right away. I probably should have done that. Instead, I kept it and kept wasting money on it. So just poor management skills. That might just be the title of this video. Poor management skills. Hashtag poor management skills. All right. So now we are working on the station, and I wanted this to also look very nice. So I use these curved hangers that we haven't used since like way back since the second scenario. I don't remember what it's called, but I remember it was like an airport. So yeah, we haven't used these things for a while, and I really made this some cool architecture, I would say. It curves and then it does it like another curve that's on a different level, and I really like how that works out. Uh, but now we are fixing our vandalism, fixing everything that we need to be fixed since we just wasted a bunch of time on that go-kart track that is not going to be doing good. And I keep ranting on this go-kart track, but we're going to have good reason to. Now we're doing a little bit of scenery work even though we're still blowing money on it. I can't stop getting my mind off of that. We're blowing money on this that's thing that's not working at all. I just should have deleted everything from there. But I didn't. I just kept going. So you'll see where this is gonna go. Now we are below $500. We are low, and there's really nothing we can do about it now since we only have three rides that are making money, and we're practically wasting money now. So I'm gonna be using a loan pretty darn soon, and we're gonna be placing down a good amount of rides just to get the park kickstarted again. And then after we place down these rides, we're gonna go into the mid course, which is pretty deep into this episode. But I'm confident that I can get this done really, really fast because I really am not concentrating on the goals for this episode, even though that's probably not the smartest thing to be doing. Hashtag bad management skills. You already know that's the basic theme of this episode. But now we're just gonna be spamming down rides after taking that loan. Um, just because I want to get through this with a profit. I want to get through this area just so we can be golden for the next part, which we will be working on the goals. Which the main goal is just to have 3 coasters, and we only have one. So it's kind of crazy how I've just been ignoring it. But now back to the video. We have placed down the gravitron way back on the other side of the go-kart track, and then placed down this drop tower next to our on the opposite side of the park next to the roller coaster. So now we're going to be blowing more money on this go-kart track, making it look a little bit nicer at least. And this is just kind of making this exterior border wall with just kind of making it safer and look a little bit better as well. So and then we are going for our last ride here, which is I don't really know. I had a little bit of struggle with choosing this ride, but eventually we chose this Hellion Ring inverted double swing. I think it's what it's called. It's a little bit weird. I used this in the last episode, BetTVK, and it seemed to do pretty well, so I did this. And now, as I said earlier, like way earlier in the video, I would be changing the colors of the rides and stuff. And the reasoning for this, I actually like after halfway through, I was just like, well, this is kind of weird how a lot of the warmer colors are on one side and then a lot of the cooler colors are on the other. So if you guys are a little bit of a nerd like me, I know that. So I just don't know. I just kind of picked that up through school. So yeah, we just kind of have this park split through cold and cool, or like cool and warm colors, basically meaning like the blues and then the reds practically. So purple is the gravitron, and we're doing a nice queue cover for this. This ride gets pretty popular in the rain, and then nothing really going on for the double swing. So that pretty much sums it up for this first quarter, first part of the time lapse. So we'll jump into a mid course and see what's going on. Alright, so we are here in the mid-course section for HappyCo Harbor, and this is what we have going on so far. Pretty much this whole side of the park is developed, so we're going to be kind of looking to this side of the park now, and I still don't know how to open this land, so we'll kind of look into that really quick, and we'll ride our coaster and look a little bit more into detail about everything else. So you kind of walk into this park, you got the Enterprise ride, you got the merry-go-round, and then you got the go-karts, which literally one person is on, and I think he's been stuck on it like forever. Yeah. So we'll see. I don't really know. That's just kind of a blank moment. That kind of sucks for him. I might just have to shut that down, right? Shut that ride down. Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. But this is our coaster over here, and wow, I spammed down a lot of plants over here. That's nice. Ooh, let's catch it. Catch the ride. There we go. So we'll just ride this right now since it's just dispatching as the music comes back. So yeah, this ride is a pretty jank ride. It's kind of rough, but it's okay. And it kind of stops at this block break for a little while. There's only 2 trains running on it, but that's okay because we don't have that many people in our park. We have maybe, well, actually about 240. And we seem to be making a little bit of a profit. And then we go into this huge Cobra roll after the launch. Lots of hang time there. And then into a beautiful vertical loop. And then the craziest cutback ever with a lot of crazy whip. And then a crazy 0G roll. And then a really jerky ending. And it hits a trim there too. I didn't mention that in the time lapse. But we had to trim that because it was just slamming so hard into the brakes right here that I had to trim it. It just didn't look right. But it does accomplish its goal of getting its excitement rating of 79.5. I think it has to be higher than 60 for this part. So if we go into our goals right now, we need 3 coasters with a 50 excitement, so that's way above. A decoration rating of 80, and then 600 guests in your park. So the 2 more coasters will definitely help with the 600 guests, and as long as they're above 50, we should be good to go. So the plans for the future of this park, really the future would be to expand over here, even though I don't really want to. That's pretty much what I thinking we're gonna do. And then looking at our rides, we still have the observation tower, which could be useful, and a lot of these throw rides, which will also be useful, and then a hydraulic launch coaster, which is going to go right in here, right in this nook here, and it's just gonna be basically like Top Throw Dragster or Accelerator or King Ka, one of those types of coasters. And then the wooden coaster, which is gonna have to go over here because I literally have no room for it. I mean, maybe if this go-kart track wasn't here, we might have room, but you know, it's okay. Not even going. I don't even think. There's just one guy on it, stuck on it. I think I might have to like fix this because he's just kind of stuck there. Um, how do you um minimum waiting time is 10 seconds. No, don't wait for full. How do I change that? Alright, well, as I figured this out, we are done with this little mid-course. I rode the ride, kind of looked at everything, kind of looking at this side of the park because we kind of ignored it. Good lines over here, and Gravitron's kind of taking a L right now. But that's okay. So, as we're done with this, let's move on to the next portion and hopefully get this park done. Okay, so as you guys are watching the second portion of the video, I must say that I did do a couple of changes while you guys are watching it, like the editing, and also while I was building. So the first thing is, this is going to go by really fast. I decided to try and cut down the time of the video by a lot after we hit about 25 minutes just about now. So I really felt like over 30 is going to be a little bit too much. So from now on, I think the Parkitect videos are going to be, I'm going to try and make them shorter, and the way I'm going to do that is by just showing you guys the creation of the ride and then a little bit of scenery here and there. So right now, for example, we're doing the roller coaster that I said that we would do in the mid-course. So we're doing that hydraulic launch coaster that's going to go into the top hat, and then it's going to come down, and we'll kind of get into that. But then for the station, I'm not going to include that in the build. You guys will just kind of see that come along as we kind of skip through to the next building or the next ride in the time lapse. So hopefully this will make the time lapse go a lot more faster and a little bit more interesting as well, as there are a lot more rides going in. The only problem with this now is that some things will be skipped, some of the essential stuff, but also some of the boring stuff. For example, like in this part of the time lapse, there was a lot of park management. So that included vandalism and making sure people were happy, the happiness ratings, all that stuff kind of came into it, and it really took forever to do. So I wanted to cut all that stuff out, and so I feel like this is a good compromise, and I hopefully you guys enjoy it how this one goes out. So, as we're doing right now, we are making this roller coaster. The layout is finished. It does have one inversion. I made a little custom corkscrew. It's not the smoothest, but it works, and we'll ride this in the end as well, as always. And another thing that I did, you might have noticed at the very beginning of this part of the time lapse, I actually fixed the go-kart track. I lowered the price to like 25 cents, and people actually started riding it. It had a full line, and it started to make some money. So after some people got in line, it started to get really good popularity. But now, as we are ending the queue part of this build, we're about to hit a cut. And the station should be done, but now we're actually going across the little bay area that we have, the port. I bought some area over there so that we could expand since the whole side of the park is pretty much made. It's all been developed. We did add a swan ride over there, but it's nothing too big. We put the turbine in over here just to get it started, and we hit another cut. So now we're making our third and final roller coaster of this park. We were required to have 3 coasters with a happiness rating of over 50, and we did achieve that with this wooden coaster that's going in right here. This one, I wanted this to be an out and back layout. It's going to go all the way down the side of the little park that we have going on. It's going to go all the way down, so I bought some land down there as well. And it has a full lap of twice, I think. It goes out and back and then out and back again. So it's a fairly short coaster, but it's a really exciting one. It has some speed coming into the end, I will say that, and it has some really good airtime as well. So that's pretty much this coaster here. We are going to be getting a lot of stuff done right now since we do have a good amount of money. It did take a lot of time to get a lot of money in this, and I actually did take a couple of loans just because this park is really just hard. I was not expecting it to be all that difficult, but it really did prove me wrong. And this is just a little ride, but we will ride this again later on in the end, where you guys can take that in. And that's pretty much this. We'll do the station off camera, as I said, but the queue and all that kind of winds through the the wood almost. It kind of makes some interesting interaction. And one thing that I actually was really having trouble with in the back of this park was the scenery ratings. It was going down really fast, and I didn't know why, and I really couldn't get it to go away. Really, I don't know why that was, but the coaster was seemed to be blocking some of the good scenery ratings, I guess, because I guess the scenery has to be able to match the outside scenery of the park. So that's kind of the dilemma that I was having. But now we are just spanned down two more rides. We have the observation tower, which we are going to be doing some foliage and queue work here. And we also did the motion simulator. So both of these will be getting work. I'm only going to show you guys the observation tower. I really like how this one came out. I have this little flower bed here with the hedges and some flowers. And then we just have the simple queue cover and some nice blue outlines, and that's pretty much what we have going on for this. So that would be the end for this pretty much this whole part of the time lapse. It went really fast. It was only like 5 minutes. We have maybe one more ride to go, two more rides, and then we will be done. So one of those rides is going to be the Twister ride, and then another is going to be the motion simulator. Although I will say that there are a lot more rides that I did not come on camera, and that's just because it took forever to film, and it really was annoying, and you guys wouldn't want to watch that. So with that being said, I will show you guys all that stuff that I did off camera right now when we hit this end portion. Alright, so, we have to hold the ghost for a whole month. Oh boy. I was not paying attention. Alright, well, let's get to doing that really quick. Hopefully I'll be able to do it without a lot of struggles. But while we're doing that, actually, I'll just show you around the park really quick. So some things that we added to this area over here, we added... Oh, this is gonna take forever. We added our little car ride over here with the little silo. It's a little brick hut. And it's just a little lap here. Nothing too crazy. So that's what we have going on in the back corner, just trying to draw some people in here. And then our Twister ride, our motion simulator, and then I went on to make a little port, or not a port, but like a boardwalk almost. So we have a little, what is this? This is the cinema movie theater, and I said that this would be added in the time lapse, but I guess it didn't get added in the time lapse. And then we have our haunted house here. Well, this is something that was not added. And then our very last thing is the mini monorail. So this one basically just connects the parks. Those who don't want to go up the stairs can take this around, although they still have to go upstairs to get to the monorail. So let's take a ride on this coaster first. And here's a look. Oh, some other things that we did. We added the bumper car ride in here. We basically tried to cram in as much stuff as possible. Alright, so let's get on this ride here, and we'll zoom in. So yeah, we basically tried to cram in as much as possible into every little part of this building, basically. So this is the coaster. Nice slow top hat, and then a really jerky corkscrew, and then into the brakes. Really simple, really easy. I guess it is pretty fun, although you are held on the brakes for a really good amount of time. And then another look at the now really good doing go-kart track. So that's how it's doing, almost a full line, which is awesome. And then coming back over to the other side of the park, we will take a ride on the Woody coaster. So we're going up the chain right now. Uh-oh, I did not click on it. Okay. So as we take a ride, I'll sit back and relax, and we'll just kind of go up the slow train hill. So some other things that kind of went into this building, or this whole park, I guess, is a lot of management of the park. You have to manage your money very well, and there was a lot of vandalism, and the rain seemed to be a huge factor as well. So this scenario overall was pretty difficult, I would say. Loans were pretty essential to me. I really don't want to take loans. I feel like it's almost like cheating, but at the same time, they're given to you for a reason, and you got to use them to be able to do everything that you need to do. So now, as we close in at 1 week to finish the scenario, hopefully we can do it. We have to be over 600 guests, which we are doing, and the happiness rating has to be, not happiness, but decoration rating, I actually think it is. Ooh, if I can get it. Decoration has to be above an 80, it's an 87. So hopefully we can get this. I really want to be done with this scenario, and then we can be done. and then we can move on to our next scenario. So let's please get this done. Never mind, I don't need to hire you. Uh, so why don't I'll cut to when we get this park done, which hopefully won't be too long. And there we go. We finally did this. We did not get our optional goal. It is now year 5 November, and it is the optional goal was May year 3. But we finished it, so we are finally done with this scenario. So why don't we save and we'll quit. And it feels so good to be done with that scenario. It took forever. And look at the trophy. It is a nice crane. Perfect for this scenario. Right on the edge, on the concrete. And let's see what we get revealed. Oh, we get more than just a crane. We got a whole boat. That's nice. And now we have another 3 options to choose from. I think this is the most we've ever had. So we have Highway Hijinks, Honey Hills, and Biscayne Beach. For right now, we are going to hit Biscayne Beach next. So we'll keep that next episode. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Parkitect. As I said, thank you guys. And make sure to have an amazing day.